Welcome to Journaling with Nature, the podcast for those who want to turn curiosity into wonder, a pencil sketch into a rabbit hole of discovery, a moment of stillness into a life full of joy. I'm your host, Bethan Burton. Let's open the pages of our nature journals and explore this world together. Hello, this is episode 81. Today I'm speaking with Kuniko Kikuchi. Kuniko lives in Tokyo and has been nature journaling since 2019. When I first asked Kuniko to be on the podcast a long while back, it was with the thought that we would use a translator and that she would be able to express herself freely in Japanese. Having used a translator for another guest and realizing it was a lot more complicated than I initially thought, I approached Kuniko again and she agreed to join me in English. We prepared a few questions, and even though she was nervous, she did an amazing job. In 2020, Kuniko wrote a blog post for International Nature Journaling Week called My Place in the World. I've used this title for today's podcast episode as well because nature journaling helped Kuniko find peace and presence and appreciate life and nature wherever she is. I was so pleased to have the chance to hear the story of how she came to nature journaling, what it means for her life, and how she's finding special places in nature around her in Tokyo. Let's listen. Kuniko, thank you so much for being here on the podcast with me.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
I'm wondering how you started nature journaling.
Yeah, I wanted to draw a unique picture. Or maybe I was on a journey of self-discovery like young people, but I could not find a way. My parents and classmates complimented me when I drew pictures as a child. But when I became an adult, I realized that there are a lot of people who are good artists. I didn't like my paintings because I always compared them to others' art, no matter what I drew. I thought maybe I was using the wrong materials, so I researched the art supplies on the internet. I tried both acrylic and oil paint, but I was not satisfied with the result. Then, almost 2 years ago, I chanced upon Eriko's website on the internet. She has organized the Japan Nature Journal Club, and I explained about nature journaling. It is to observe nature and record those observations in a journal using painting and words. I hadn't heard about that before and thought, oh, that sounds interesting. You don't have to draw the same subject well or compare yourself to anyone else. There are no rules, and you can depict nature as you see it. This was very attractive to me. She held the workshop in spring. I remember that the children found many baby praying mantises that had hatched from their egg case. They quickly ran away in all directions. I was surprised and impressed. I felt it was very important to take note of such moments. However, I was concerned that there was no nature around my home in Tokyo. I used to live in the countryside and thought Tokyo only has buildings and houses. But I was wrong. I realized that even Tokyo has nature.
Wow. Can you talk about the nature that you can see around you now?
Mm.
What kind of nature do you see in your area?
There are few parks in Tokyo, but although it's not rich in nature, you can still observe animals and plants that have adapted to the environment. There are 4 seasons, but this year there were days when the temperature passed 30 degrees even in October. I used to live near a train station and would walk around in the residential area. Then I began to feel that simply walking around was a waste of time. So I began studying English on my headphones while I walked. After the nature journaling workshop, though, I stopped using my headphones. I was able to enjoy looking at the sky, listening to bird songs, smelling the flowers, feeling the temperature, and the wind blowing. And I started observing nature, such as shrines, temples, parks, and ponds. On holidays, I cycled to the wild bird park and the river, and I observe nature when I go on a trip. Now, I live near a big river that flows through Tokyo. I moved here in August. I take a walk every morning and embankment. It may not have beautiful water, but there are schools of fish, glowing glasses along the riverside, and lots of insects and birds. I'm happy to see them. The other day, I rode my bike to the river mouth by the sea. The tidal flats have even more animals. I have found another nice place.
That's lovely. I love hearing about nature where you are. And when you're nature journaling, what are your favorite painting materials to use?
Yeah, I use a waterproof pen, watercolor paint, a sketchbook, and watercolor pencils. I'm picky about my watercolor blush. There's a blush I like, but I'd like to get used to using a water blush. I still can't adjust the water well. Yeah, I prefer to use a waterproof pen instead of a pencil. When I was in junior high, I erased written sentences, test answers, and drawings because I was not confident. My teacher said, don't use your pencil. You can only use a ballpoint pen or a felt pen. They cannot be erased. So he was able to read my sentences. He liked my sentences, and now I like drawing and writing. He told me that writing something with a pen on a blank sheet needs courage. I realized that I can only learn from my mistakes. I also like to make my own easy to art supplies. I made a small palette and a drawing board. I want to carry as few tools as possible, so I make small ones. I also would like to study color mixing and learn how to express complex colors.
Mm. Why do you think nature journaling is important?
There are two reasons. First, it's fun and enjoyable. It's also clear one's mind and connect one to nature. Sometimes I'm really into nature journaling. I ride my bike, sketching, taking photos and videos, and forget to eat for a long time. While I'm in that zone, I have no regrets or anxieties, just a peaceful time. I
Mm.
think that's what it means to be alive. In July, my workplace was destroyed by fire, and I was out of work for a while. Fortunately, I was all right, but I was quite worried at that time and didn't feel like drawing and writing.
Mm.
However, although I just lost my job, the owners lost everything. When I saw them, I realized I have everything I need
Mm.
already. I don't need nature journaling to live. I'm grateful that I have that basics for my life, so it's something I simply do for enjoyment.
Mm.
Maybe there are people who think this is childish, but for me, it's something playful that even adults can get hooked on. And I think that's very important. I need to in the present without being obsessed by regrets of the past or worries about the future. The second reason is that I can get another perspective. The other day I saw a bee struggling to get free from a large spider web. I was looking at from a big perspective. If I broke the spider web, the bee might have been saved, but the spider would lose its food. If the spider survives after eating the bee, it may itself be eaten by a bird. I realized that I didn't have to try to change what was going to happen. On the other hand, I can see it from a smaller perspective. The other day, we had an earthquake in Tokyo. Although science has progressed, earthquakes still cannot be predicted. Even the weather forecast can be wrong. On Sunday, I believed the weather forecast and went to the nature journaling. It rained on the way home, and I got soaking wet. The power of nature is greater than we can imagine. And I don't think it's necessary for us to understand it all. There are a lot of great people in the world who plead for the protection of nature. They study nature and tell children about the importance of nature. For many years, I felt sad that I couldn't do anything. Now I observe and record the small things around me. I can only do what I can do. That's why I only clean the bench that I stop by for a walk every morning.
Oh, these insights are so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And you create wonderful videos for your YouTube channel, nature inspired videos. Can you tell a little about your YouTube channel and the videos you create?
Yes. Uh, when I started my YouTube channel, I was aiming for 1,000 subscribers and wanted to earn some money if possible. Truly. But the number of views for my YouTube channel has not been increasing very much. I make them using the Final Cut Pro and Affinity series.
Mhm.
When I started making videos, it was so difficult. Also, it took a long time, but now it's a lot of fun and I enjoy making it. I'm not good at chatting and taking action with someone at the same time. So I prefer painting, taking photos, and making videos. But I really would like to connect with others and show my works. If social media disappeared, would I still make my works? I'm not sure. At first, I just made the video in order, but now I'd like to make a video that has a good storyline, and I'd like to make something useful for someone. Decades from now, people who watched the flora and fauna video I shot might say, oh, there was that kind of bird there, or the environment may improve, and people might say, there are more birds here than before. Nobody knows the future. I can only live now, so I'd like to capture the moment and share it with others.
Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing these insights with me. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Kuniko. I love how nature journaling helped open her eyes to the places she could find nature around her in Tokyo, and how she started seeing more and noticing fish and insects and birds by the river. I also thought it was wonderful how she finds that nature journaling helps her be in the present without the regrets of the past or worries about the future. This is such a significant benefit of having a nature journal practice. Kuniko has a wonderful YouTube channel where she shares nature experiences and sketchbook tours. Please take a moment to visit the show notes for this episode and subscribe to Kuniko's channel. As she said in her interview, she loves capturing a moment in nature and sharing that with others, and her videos are one important way that she can do this. Thank you so much for listening. See you next week.